This is the Defenders podcast on TV Podcast Industries, and we're talking about Marvel Zombies, Episode 2.
Okay, Baron. See the one with the rings? The one with the rings, he's the one who brought the cows. They have the beef. Yeah, I know I don't have a vote, but if I did, they'd have my vote.
You're the one with the cows?
Yes, your baronship. We seek the right of asylum in these troubled times.
I've heard of you. Heroes of the open road, protecting your people with enchanted rings.
Yeah, that's us.
I hate heroes.
Huh?
Always hiding dangerous ideas behind your powers and silly masks. Not you.
Look, we don't want any trouble. We'll scrub the decks, anything you need. And when it comes to protection, we're pretty handy to have around.
Welcome back, fellow defenders, to TV Podcast Industries, where we are chatting all things Marvel Zombies, and this is episode 2 of the series. I am one of your hosts, John.
And I'm your other host, Derek. Should these have had names, John?
Maybe, but I can't see them anywhere. I've just got episode 1, episode 2.
No, I know there's no names that they've given them. I think I'm just asking, should Disney Plus have given each episode a name, a title?
I think so.
It feels like just a little bit of the creative process is missed when you don't give the title to an episode.
Yeah, I don't know why. Not a clue, but I think they should have given them titles. Like, for example, this one should have been Underwater, No One Can Hear You Scream.
Something like that would be good. That'd be good. Or maybe if you're going to San Francisco, make sure to carry a stake in your hair. Maybe. I was trying to think what you'd replace a flower in your hair with to take out zombies.
10 rings.
Cricket bat. 10 rings, yeah. Make sure you have the 10 rings in your hair.
Yeah, 10 ring bangles.
There you go. Oh, yes, we got Shang-Chi back, John.
We certainly did, which was great.
One of our favourite movie characters we just have not seen enough of. Simu back here in fine form with Aquafina. And Jimmy Woo's back as well. There's so many cool moments in this episode.
Yeah, really good to get old Shang-Chi back, for sure. But let us get into our spoiler-filled discussion of this second episode. Remember, though, fellow defenders, to pop on over to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com, where you can subscribe to any zombie or non-zombie podcast player of your choice. You can also leave a voicemail or send us feedback over on the website. Our email is feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com for all those thoughts, theories, and observations around this series of Marvel Zombies. And of course, we are on Facebook with our Facebook group. Just head on over to facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries, where you can give your thoughts on our spoiler-filled comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We're covering Marvel Zombies, of course, for Halloween. But this isn't the only scary thing we've been watching over the last couple of weeks, is it, John? We've been really
certainly isn't.
Filling up our spooky minds with crazy stuff. What did we watch? We watched Long Legs.
Yes, we did.
I think that's
with Nicolas Cage, but really, really good and very freaky. Mm-hmm. Up there with Weapons, I would say, which I really enjoyed as well.
I think Long Legs is definitely on the freakier side.
Definitely, yes.
But I loved Weapons, really enjoyed it. And then the new series, Welcome to Derry, came out this week. The first episode came out this week. Yes. And that is so good and so scary.
Yes. You thought sewers were just filled with and was scary enough just on that basis.
Well, after the first It movie, I thought all sewers just filled with clowns.
I find it really difficult to watch it because it's just so scary.
It gets to that point, though, as with all good horror movies. I'm a big horror fan, but as with all good horror movies, it gets to that point where it goes over the edge of, well, this isn't possible for any human to be in this particular position, so I could just laugh at this now. It's fine in a good way, and I'm enjoying myself watching it. Like, this goes way beyond the kind of stuff that an actor would be able to do on their own without visual effects or CGI helping them out. So I'm at that point where I really enjoy watching it. I get a bit scared. I get a little jump here and there, but beyond that, I just think it's a really good show. Really enjoying it. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too. And in fact, weirdly, with Welcome to Derry, it's, to me, the vibe has Lovecraft Country, which is just one of my all-time favorite series. In that kind of horror genre. Really unexpected for me, and just really, really enjoyed it. And whether it's just because it's the setting, and some of the themes that are running through that, the series beyond just simply horror. I just find it's reminiscent of Lovecraft Country here for me, and that puts it in a good place for me.
Oh, without a doubt. It's really, really good. But we did cover Lovecraft Country on our podcast, but we're not able to fit it in on TV Podcast Industries. But you definitely need a companion podcast to go along with Welcome to Derry. It's set in the Stephen King universe. It's set before the events that happened in the 2 It movies. And our friend Jason Kabasi is doing a podcast on it over in his Wax Episodic podcast. Highly recommend you go check that out after you watch the episode. They guide you through each of the big moments that happen in the episode and all the connections within the Stephen King universe. Loads of stuff that I didn't even know about. You know, there's a character in there played by Chris Chalk, who was in Gotham.
Yes.
And he's playing the same character that was in The Shining, the guy that has The Shining in The Shining Hotel.
Okay.
I wouldn't have known that.
I wouldn't have
Jason's
known
podcast.
that. No.
Yeah, so that's who Chris Chalk plays. So
wow,
we both saw him and went, that's Chris Chalk from Gotham.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have a great podcast. Go over and check that out on podcastica.com or just find Wax Episodic and tell them we sent you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff. Think we need to get into our chat, though, about Marvel Zombies, John.
Definitely. Derek, who gave us what, where, when, and how?
Well, once again, Teleplay for the episode is by Zeb Wells. The story is by Zeb Wells and Bryan Andrews, and directed by Bryan Andrews once again, as with all of the episodes this season. John, do you want to give us your synopsis for Marvel Zombies Episode 2?
Sure. Episode 2, On the Open Road, the hunger for flesh rules all. 5 years ago in San Francisco, Shang-Chi, his best friend Katy, FBI officer Jimmy Woo, and survivors Rick, Denise, and Sandra are saved from a horde by the Ten Rings organization led by Shang-Chi's father, Xu Wenwu. When Shang-Chi is bitten, Wenwu bestows the mystical 10 rings to Shang-Chi to contain the infection and sacrifices himself to give time for Death Dealer to help the group escape. In the present, after fighting off Skrull bandits, Shang-Chi's group arrives at Helmut Zemo's sanctuary, the Raft, where they meet Kamala's group. Both groups agree to work together, and Blade reveals that the spaceship to get the SOS transmission broadcast from Earth's orbit is located in New Asgard. Along the way, Zemo attempts to sacrifice Kamala's group to the infected Talokanil for safe passage. Instead, a zombified Namor leads his people to attack the Raft. While Zemo and John Walker attempt to flee in an escape pod, Namor kills Walker, Rick, Denise, and Sandra before Kamala kills him with the group's help. When the Raft begins to sink, Yelena sacrifices herself and stays behind to manually override the launch of the last remaining escape pods. The group successfully escapes and travel to New Asgard, while Yelena toasts her fallen allies before the zombies break in and devour her brains.
Oh, poor Yelena.
I know. Literally, the main theme for me on this episode is no one is safe.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think just this hits hard with Yelena because we've seen what she went through at the start as Thunderbolt. She was in this kind of place after losing her sister and losing her family connection. She was willing to take her own life, and here she is sacrificing herself for everybody to get away.
But even Rick, Denise, and Sandra, I mean, when will the killing end?
I absolutely love this. We'll talk all about it in our major moments from the episode. Let's get into those, John, because we're going to San Francisco. Last week, New York. This week, San Francisco.
Exactly.
Interestingly, this is a direct connection back to, again, What If Zombies. The original outbreak started when Hank Pym got his wife, Janet Van Dyne, back from the Quantumverse, she brought the zombie plague back with her to San Francisco. And there was a little line in that episode that they sent the Avengers there to take care of it, and the Avengers were wiped out instantly. So this is the immediate aftermath of what happens there. We see Pym Labs and the explosions coming out of it, turning zombies into giants, humans into giants, ants into giants, and
seagulls into giants. Yeah.
Oh, you'd never be able to have a sandwich in San Francisco again.
But I do really like the Pym zombies here. I think they even mention it. Look, it's the Pym Industries is on fire, and it also explains the really oversized zombies walking around, which is scary enough.
Absolutely.
I must say, when we first saw it, knowing it was in San Francisco, but there hadn't been the Pym reference, and I was like, what's up with those flies and the seagull?
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? Because it then suddenly felt a bit like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party or something with Alice in Wonderland.
Or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids would be my reference. Exactly.
But I mean, I just, it was like, oh, okay, Grant, yes, it's, of course, the Pym particles,
but
and so on. So I like that, and I think it holds a lot of promise, shall I say.
I have to say, I love the chaos that's here. This is what I love in a zombie movie. We haven't seen it very often. It's something that, they always skip it in movies nowadays, but this is the stuff that you really enjoy. This is like Train to Busan. This is like, back in World War Z, when you see these massive hordes of zombies in a city going after people, that it's what I love to watch. So seeing this in the Marvel universe and having Shang-Chi and Katy in the middle of it, Shang hasn't even revealed his power and revealed his past to Katy at this point. She's still calling him Sean.
Yeah.
It's only when his father arrives that she finally finds out who he is and what his legacy is.
Yeah, cool. Totally agree. I mean, even like the hints with Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, it's just really good where you have that kind of the sequence of stuff happening.
Chaos,
and here it's on a really large scale.
Yeah. And getting bigger because of the Pym particles.
Exactly. It feels chaotic.
Yeah.
People are getting taken out.
Well, even Katy saying she wants to go down to Chinatown to get her mommy and family, basically, and we saw all of them in the Shang-Chi movie. They're all dead.
Yeah.
That's how they meet up with Jimmy Woo, who's coming out of that part of town. It's on fire. Everybody inside is dead. So before the opening credits, characters that we've met in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I do really like having Jimmy Woo here. I really like the comedic relief that Jimmy Woo brings.
Always.
Always to the situation. And then, you have, as you say, you have Katy Shen realizing that Sean, her longtime friend and work colleague, is actually Shang-Chi and knows martial arts, and then has a father riding in on a helicopter with these magical 10 rings sort of protecting them. But ultimately, I love the fact that these 10 rings, just because at the end of the Shang-Chi film, you have that mystical element with Wong, and that just them being around Shang-Chi's arm after he's been bitten helps stop the spread of the infection, which allows Shang-Chi to live.
Yes.
And, this is bestowed on him by his dad in that sacrifice. So it reflects that sacrifice that he does in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But in a different way.
And vastly quicker.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Unfortunately, we don't get that whole story of how the two of them reconcile. It's basically, well, if I don't do it right now, my son's dead, and I came here to save him anyway. So, but I love that there's little nods to the Wenwu character where he's like, "No, I came here to get you. I don't care about anybody else here. Let them all die. You're the important one." Basically, I really like that. And as you say, that the fact that he passes over the 10 rings to save Shang. I wonder, does that ring have to stay there forever? That one ring has to stay in his arm forever. I didn't count them every time they were in battle for later points.
No, I didn't really spot that. I was wondering that as well, that when he fires them off, is
there 9?
Does he need to keep one on?
Yeah.
And I guess he does, to stop the spread of the infection, because it's only with them going on that it halts moving up his arm.
Guess so.
But I mean, equally as well, I think he then shares them with Katy because
Katy has half, he has the other half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So actually, whilst they're on,
5 years,
he could take off his arm and just move them onto the other arm. Because I would always be worried that it might actually start spreading.
You'd think he should just take off one arm.
Whilst it's on, whilst it stops,
Gotcha.
like you've got the line, so you go, right, okay, just saw here. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm making it sound quite matter of fact, but... you kind of do that.
But at the moment it's just slightly discoloured and slightly zombie infectious, but doesn't seem to impact him too much. He's still able to do his martial arts quite well for the rest of the episode.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It doesn't seem to affect him. But I did have the same thought, when he's chucking them around.
But it is really cool that he ends up with these 10 rings as they're escaping from San Francisco, when Wu sacrificing himself at the opening of the episode here. And also we have Death Dealer, the silent character from Shang-Chi, who's in the helicopter helping people out, and that's where we get the rest of the group. We have them saving some randomers from the street, Rick, Denise, and Sandra. And no matter how much googling I did, I could not find a Rick, Denise, and Sandra that meant anything specific within the Marvel universe. Yeah. I'm sure they all have appeared, or those names have appeared in the MCU somewhere before. But
absolutely. I do like as well just Death Dealer and Jimmy Woo's sort of trade off. It's the straight relief to the Jimmy Woo comedy,
without a doubt.
But it's just really well done. Yeah. I like it. I like how it plays out.
Absolutely. The best kind of relief from a person who doesn't stop talking is a person who doesn't talk at all.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get on to our second point, because we are now 5 years in the future, and the team are going to go to Baron Zemo and his raft. I love the opening of this because it just feels like Mad Max at the beginning of the episode.
Big time, yeah.
And our only nod in the MCU that I think we'll ever get to Secret Invasion is that the Skrulls are on Earth and they're riding motorcycles, chasing down Shang and all of his team throughout the desert. But this is a tight team, easily able to take out the Skrulls that are following them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, they're trying to stop them from getting their truck of cows.
Yes.
That they're taking to the city on the sea.
Exactly. And that's a nod to the comic books. Again, I think I mentioned this before when we were talking about Secret Invasion, that the original Skrull invasion was that they came to Earth and they were tricked into turning into cows. The Skrulls that came to Earth that were able to shapeshift themselves into anything. They were tricked into turning into cows. So having the Skrulls on their motorbikes here, kind of like the Skrull Kill Crew, if anybody remembers that comic book. There they are chasing down some cows that could possibly be their friends, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They could be.
Could be that.
I do like, though, when they arrive at New Orleans in order to get on the city on the sea, which is the raft. So I think that's a real neat idea, actually. But the cows actually are tribute to Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
And you have his right-hand man, John Walker. But as they're going through the gates, they're saying, well, these cows are tribute. And you kind of have the guard umming and ahhing a bit, just, not being very committal. Mm-hmm. And you just have Katy say, when's the last time you had a hamburger?
Absolutely.
Which I just thought was really, I thought that was a nice little touch.
Absolutely.
It feels as though it'd be something I would say as well in that situation where you're kind of being questioned about whether you can get access and whether the tribute is enough. You're just kind of like going, hang on a sec. Hamburgers.
Yes. Just think
milk,
of the possibilities. Yeah.
Cheese. Butter.
I love it. Isn't that's even a comment, isn't it, from Jimmy, where he's going, who the hell could turn down cows and hamburgers? Vegetarians?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Oh, we didn't think of them. Yeah. No, there is a really good moment in this idea that Baron Zemo, of course, turning his prison cell into this ship that is the savior for the planet that's now infected with walkers everywhere, or with zombies everywhere. That's my Walking Dead there for a second, but with zombies everywhere. He has now turned the prison into the raft. Was John Walker sent to the raft at the end? I think he was at the end.
Yeah, he was.
Of Falcon and Winter Soldier after that. So I guess that's where the two of them met. John Walker probably sent to prison for a different reason in this reality.
No, he is. But I also do like the fact that, in a sense, Zemo is still that sneak from Civil War. Into, he's here saying, heroes hide dangerous ideas, but then he brings them aboard onto his city on the sea anyway. And you're kind of like going, okay, why is that? And then you suddenly realize that where the cows were the tribute for Baron Zemo, they ultimately are the tribute to a load of hungry underwater Tolukans from Namor's city. And I just think this is a great idea as well. You have Okoye saying it, they think they're safe.
Yes.
And ultimately you have the Tolukans all zombified, eating sort of whale carcasses on the bottom of the sea, and ultimately start to attack the raft.
So cool.
And
I love what you've said there, though, about that effectively the heroes are the cows and the tribute from Zemo to the king of the sea, basically. So I love that idea, and it also speaks to when we have Alexei going up to the canteen to get himself food, and he's told he can take whatever he wants, take as much as he wants, and he comes back with this massive plate full of food, because that's basically expected to be his last meal, because it seems like a lot of people are in on the idea that the humans that are on board, or the non-supers that are on board, will be allowed to live. The heroes that are on there, because Zemo doesn't like them, will be fed one by one to appease Namor while they pass by.
Yeah, no,
Plan,
absolutely.
at least.
Like, Zemo really does not like superheroes, and I think it's just really cool as you see all these Tolukans sort of swimming towards it. But
Absolutely,
I think
that's
moving on to our third point, though, it's also their leader,
Absolutely.
Zombie Namor.
or Zombie Khan. Yes.
Well, indeed.
So
So, as I said at the start, this is the episode where it's like literally no one is safe. I mean, not only do we see that sort of in San Francisco,
yeah.
but I think equally with the arrival of Zombie Namor, to me, this is one of the most terrifying depictions of him, and is proper horror. I felt this was proper horror.
Yeah.
It's vicious, brutal, and ultimately terrifying. And I
Yes.
thought it was very, very cool how it was depicted in animated like this.
Oh, without a doubt.
And this was where I was like, no one is safe. And then all of a sudden I was like going, well, like he rips through a bunch of people, in particular Rick, Denise, and Sandra.
They're all
like,
gone.
what have they ever done to old Talia? What have they ever done to Cool Khan, Zombie?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know, but you know what it reminded me of? This was like the chase sequence in Multiverse of Madness, when Scarlet Witch is chasing down Doctor Strange and America Chavez and
in Kamatage.
Yeah, and Rachel when they're going through the tunnels and she's
right,
following
yeah,
along
yeah,
behind them.
yeah.
It really felt like that. I know there's water in that scene as well, so that's the intensity of it. Directed by Sam Raimi, of course, who's a horror director, and it felt like they were taking cues from that for this scene with Namor chasing them down.
But that was it. With all his sort of posturing and that, it was like, well, no one is safe here. And then, of course, little soft Kamala, little, baby-eyed assassin Kamala is also a killer. She kills Zombie Namor. I just think it's so, so good.
Yeah.
And, so you're kind of there going, look, okay, I said no one was safe, and no one is, because literally Kamala has just blown up Namor's head from the inside as he's tried to bite her hand, which has been protected by her sort of crystals.
Like, I must say, her power is very appropriate for the zombie apocalypse. It works really well. If they can't get to you and bite you, then you're safe, and she's able to block them at all in all angles with her powers. It's really cool. And yes, the fact that she does take out Namor is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I just don't think anybody survives the zombie apocalypse unless they're able to kill at least one zombie. And if you're able to kill the second biggest zombie of all zombies, which is Namor. I think that puts you on a pretty high level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, you get the Yelena sacrifice. And so it's literally no one is safe.
Yeah.
And actually, you could have said that from the first episode, like we discussed in the last podcast with Kate Bishop, Riri, and, of course, Yelena's mother, Melina. But here we have Yelena sacrificing herself so that they can escape from the remaining zombie horde and get in these escape pods. But she needs to do all the override switches manually. And, you know, I do like it's very Yelena. It's okay. It's a good death. You know, and you see how distraught Alexei is in losing his and leaving his daughter behind.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact she is drinking some whiskey at the end, and it's like one for me, one for the ship.
Absolutely.
One for me. Just as the zombies kind of break through the glass to spoil her drinking session with herself.
Yes. Once again, Defenders TV podcast bringing you Whiskey Watch.
Indeed. I presume it was whiskey. It was brown, so it wasn't vodka.
It was definitely intended to be whiskey, at least. Yes. Excellent stuff. Yes, another sacrifice at the end of this episode. So we also saw Walker was killed by Namor as well. So while the number may have increased slightly in the group, this traveling group that are trying to save the world, the numbers changed, though. The group has changed once again. This time we end off with Kamala, Alexei, Blade Knight, Shang-Chi, Jimmy Woo, Katy, and Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
And they're off to see the Asgardians, the wonderful Asgardians of New Asgard.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really interested to see that now, I have to say, because I do remember the New Asgard that just looked like a fishing village off the coast of Scotland or somewhere.
No, it was in the Nordic regions, wasn't it?
Well, probably, but it kind of looked Scottish to me, or like, well, maybe Shetland, I guess.
Right.
But it was, but it looked a little sort of fishing village. And so I'm hoping it's a little more splendid than that.
I'd say they're probably protecting themselves from the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse, John.
Yes.
Any notes, anything we haven't mentioned about the episode, John?
No notes from me, other than to say I really, again, enjoyed Namor here in the horror, terrifying way. And again, it's just another one of those characters that I really want to see more of.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the great thing about these first two episodes is they're bringing back so many different characters from the movies where it's been little bit parts or they've only just done one movie. So it really feels like they're just, you know, it's that next stage of these characters, and I like it.
And they're incorporating them really well, I think.
They
you don't have to know everything about them, but if you do know lots about them, then I think it adds to them. You know, like even seeing Walker up there with Zemo, you may not know who he is when you're watching it the first time, but if you go out and watch Thunderbolts afterwards and you go, oh, that's John Walker. Okay, why is he involved with Zemo there? You know, that's kind of cool. It just adds something extra to all the characters. And I hope people go out and check out the movies that they may have missed over the phase once they've watched Marvel Zombies and catch up on some of these characters that they may have missed. Yeah. Overall, John, do you defend the second episode of Marvel Zombies?
I really do. I give this 4.5 escape pods out of 5. I really enjoyed this. Shang-Chi, always going to like.
Always.
Namor, I'm always going to like. And they smashed them together. And in fact, Zemo, I really like his impact in the MCU through Civil War.
Couldn't get Daniel Brühl back to voice him this time, but still, the intention of the characters.
Bringing them all back, really good. I love the notion that they would be safe on the raft, on the city on the sea, but equally no, because you've got the Tolucans that you need to deal with, and in particular, zombie Namor. So this was really, really good. I mean, quite simple episode, really, but I just loved just the sheer veracity of it, really. It felt quick-paced, good fun, uber terrifying once you're on the raft. And yeah, so this is 4.5 escape pods out of 5 for me.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely defend this episode as well of Marvel Zombies. Another great entry. Can't wait to talk about the next episode. But we do have some feedback in for our wonderful fellow defenders. First up, an email in from Coffee and Vodka who says, "Greetings, fellow submersible defenders. First, a correction to my last email, as I've just realised where this is set. In the What If-averse, anything is possible, including an intact Xandar and an active Nova Corps, as seems to be the norm. Another maniacally paced episode, this time with extra Zemo, holy Yelena, with the big bad of this one no more or less handily dispatched and our hero corps growing. It still doesn't seem as if their trials will become any easier. Another shiny, if dark one. But then again, it does what it says on the tin. It's said that the entertainment of an age is a reflection of it. Marvel Zombies, Twisted Metal, Alien Earth, Gen V, and more seem to be laid out for future historians to have a field day with. 4.5 rough journeys, heroic sacrifices, and when woes out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and vodka."
Good stuff. Coffee and
Fantastic
vodka.
coffee and vodka.
Yes, indeed. Yes, that does explain like Falcon Crest, Dynasty, and Dallas from the 80s.
Yeah, it was all about shoulder pads and money back in the 80s. Now it's all about, well, when's the end of the world going to come? Maybe if you look to the future, the world will be better. No, it's probably going to end much more gruesomely then.
Maybe we can go to space. Well, let's hope. But yeah, totally agree, Coffee and Vodka. Really good episode here. Yeah, and totally agree with you about the sort of amped up pace of these episodes, but it does still hold together really, really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like the old when woes out of 5.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thanks, Coffee and Vodka.
Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. Over on our Facebook group, we have Heather Wallace, firstly, who says, "The opening of this episode was so well done, it was so immediate and heart-pumping. And it makes sense because the zombie plague started in San Francisco with the Pims. And it all goes Mad Max in the time jump. I did not see that coming. Yelena and Alexei broke my heart. I don't know if I can handle 2 more episodes."
Oh, I hope you can.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, Heather. But yeah, the Yelena and Alexei thing was really, really heartfelt, for sure.
It was. And, Florence Pugh gets a lot of work, and you can see why. She's just such a great actor, and she's got a great character here. And even just these little moments in an animated show with her fake father and Alexei, there's so much on them because of the experience that we've seen of her on screen, playing this character of Yelena now for 6-7 years, so it's cool to have these moments. That's something that they can do when you do this alternate universe where you have tons and tons of characters in it. Even if they've only got a few moments on screen, they make a big impact because of the weight of knowledge that you have of those characters in the universe. So I totally get you feeling, Heather. It was really sad, but at least she goes out drinking and sacrificing herself for in a good death, and they will honor her with every breath they'll take, as they say. Very cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks, Heather.
Absolutely. Thanks, Heather. Also on Facebook, Dr. Bob Phillips says, "Affectingly high body count in this one, a bit like the kids seeing the chestburster in Alien Earth. The sight of Sean and Katy facing dismemberment, falling bodies and decapitation absolutely made it crash home hard that a zombie land is a place of terror and loss. Even the assured last of the Red Guardian were mute. On the other hand, Silent Bob 2, Mad Max, and the persuasive power of beef burgers did provide fun touches this episode." Fantastic, Dr. Bob. Yes, Silent Bob 2 is a death dealer.
Yes,
I like that.
Indeed. Although I've also now got in my head SpongeBob SquarePants, but zombie. It's like instead of the Tollykins, it's SpongeBob
because
zombie
they come up from the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. No, I must say, you mentioned it earlier on, but the moments between Death Dealer and Jimmy Woo are really good.
They are.
I love even the mild argument that they have when they get aboard the raft and Jimmy Woo's going, "We're going to have a problem here because I want the top bunk," and
Exactly.
Death Dealer gives him the top bunk. So there's actually a really nice moment. He doesn't speak, but he's very kind, at least. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks, Dr. Bob. Also on Facebook, Paul Tianchi Lee says, "Call out to my friends in the San Francisco Bay Area and a reminder of the 10 plus years I lived out there. Amazing lack of the Golden Gate Bridge getting washed out, cut in half, smashed. used as a whip, etc., as it tends to be in the properties that are set in and around San Francisco. Of course, that crew would sing Journey, another OG Bay Area band. Not able to check the mid-credit sequence of Shang-Chi right now to see what song Sean, Katy and Wong sang at karaoke. Was it also a Journey song? Thanks, Paul. Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Derek went fishing.
I did. I went and had a look at it. It was Hotel California by the Eagles instead that they sing when they're very, very drunk in the karaoke scene. and that's, I think, because Katy earlier on in the movie is walking around singing Hotel California, so they get together and sing karaoke. There's lots of karaoke moments in that movie, so maybe they did a Journey song at some point as well, but I didn't see one on the list. But yeah, you're totally right. It does feel right that we have this crew together out in the deserts. After being in San Francisco, all singing Journey together. Yeah. Feels like one of those. And
it's interesting you sort of make reference to the Golden Gate Bridge as well, because I think one of my favorite San Francisco movies doesn't really include it. It's The Rock with Nicolas Cage. With the Escape Alcatraz.
Yeah, that's right. They don't plant bombs on...
I mean, it's a daft movie, but I do like it a lot.
But they don't plant bombs on the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, it's a really, really deadly toxin.
But I probably am going to ruin it, Paul, and say that the reason why they don't include it is because that was where the Avengers died in the What If episode. They died on the Golden Gate Bridge. Of course they did, when they landed 5 years ago. So
I think the other good...
Or 5 minutes ago in this episode, sorry.
Well, yeah, fine, yeah.
Of course. So that's what was happening on the Golden Gate Bridge at the start of the episode was the Avengers were dying. Yeah.
The other good one that has the Golden Gate Bridge is it's A View to a Kill, the James Bond movie with old Christopher Walken in.
Yes.
And yes, also a terrible movie, but I do like.
It's one of your favorites. It was the one where Roger Moore was about 15 years too old to play the role of James Bond. Oh,
absolutely.
And he kept coming back, and they kept giving him the paychecks.
Yeah, he certainly did. But I still really, really like it. Just maybe because I'm a geographer, because it talks about the San Andreas Fault and how basically San Francisco could slide off into the Pacific kind of thing. So yeah, Max Zorin or Christopher Walken, that's what he's trying to do effectively.
He's going to push San Francisco into the San Andreas Fault.
Yeah, so he can do a business deal. I mean, it's crazy, but I do like it.
It was all about that in the 80s. You're right. Yeah.
I'm going to cause absolute global chaos just so I can get a good old business deal.
But wasn't that Lex Luthor's plan in the original Superman as well? He was going to get Australia for land.
Absolutely, it was. It was.
Yeah. All about property deals.
And it also had Grace Jones in it, which was fab.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yes. Oh, no, you brought that image back to my mind of Roger Moore and Grace Jones together.
Well, as I say, probably 35 years too old or
that
something.
Particular movie is the reason why James Bond movies should never be made the way they used to be made. I'm so glad for the next era of James Bond to maybe correct and maybe make amends for those terrible, terrible movies back in the late 70s, early 80s. Great stuff, but we're not here to talk about Bond. We're here to say goodbye after our coverage of Marvel Zombies Episode 2. Thanks so much to all of you who've sent in your feedback. You can continue to email us into feedback at tvpodcastindustries.com or pop on over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. As we mentioned earlier, if you want other spooky stuff, go over and check out It Welcome to Derry, and then pop on over to Wax Episodic over on podcastica.com for their thoughts about those episodes. If you like scary stuff, that's a scary way to go.
Yes, absolutely. But fellow defenders, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back soon with episode 3 of Marvel Zombies.
Cannot wait for that one, yeah.
But of course, as always, fellow defenders, until next time, keep watching, keep listening, and, of course, R.I.P. Rick, Denise, and Sandra.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.
The other good one that has the Golden Gate Bridge is it's A View to a Kill, the James Bond movie with old Christopher Walken. It's absolutely one of my favourites. I mean, it's also dreadful.
Did you just call him Christopher Walked In?
Walken.
Yes.